equations is probably the most important unit that we'll cover this year. It's also your most difficult. This is the unit that people struggle with the most. But by the end of the year, you guys seem to be okay. We will be using the material that we learn in this unit. It's going to get used all the rest of the year. Even when we take a test on this and we move past it and go to the next unit, you will still continue to use this material. You will continue to use this material next year and in high school, because this is equations. You can't escape it from algebra. You'll use equations. You'll use equations in your geometry unit. It's going to be with you for the rest of your school career. So please make sure you pay attention to this unit. Okay? Now, starting off with something simple, an algebraic expression. The word algebra, that entails an unknown value that we call a variable. So when we talk about algebra, we're talking about numbers and letters, variable values that are unknown. So if I give you an expression, and I'm writing it as big as I can, we'll say 6x plus 2. 6x plus 2. In this situation, the parts of this expression have names. This value in pink, the 6, is called a coefficient. Your coefficient, so I'm going to write the word again, your coefficient is a number factor of multiplication involving a variable. It is the number factor of multiplication. So you have a multiplication problem. You have a number times a letter. That number is called your coefficient. That letter is called your variable. The variable is an unknown value. The variable is an unknown value. Then we've got this plus 2. This plus 2 is called a constant. Hold on one second, guys. A constant, when we talk about the constant, this is a number that is added, or it could even be subtracted. It's added or it's subtracted. In an algebraic expression. Now, something else that's very important, and you're going to need to understand this, is when we're looking at these, addition and subtraction signs help to separate what we call terms. So, terms are things like 6x is the first term. 6x is the first term in our statement. And then plus 2. A plus 2, a positive 2, is the second term. You have to include the operation, the plus sign or the minus sign, because it indicates, when you separate them as terms, it indicates whether it's a positive value or a negative value. If you don't include the plus sign or the minus sign, you might get it wrong, especially if you don't include the minus sign. The minus sign is important to include because it would indicate that it's a negative term. And we'll get more into that later when we talk about a different property. Okay? So these are the parts of our algebraic expressions. Our coefficient, which is what's being multiplied, the variable, which is your letter, your constant, which is your addition or subtraction number, and then separating them out, they're considered to be terms. Glory, you had your hand raised earlier. What did you need? You got it now? Okay. All right, so take a moment, copy that down. All right, let's move on. Well, I'm just scrolling down. Okay. Let's talk about evaluating these terms. So if I want you to evaluate an expression, that means I want you to substitute a value in for your variables. So let's say that we have the problem 2 and then parentheses x plus 3. And I'm telling you that x is going to be equal to 4. So I want to know if x is equal to 4, then what does 2 times the quantity of x plus 3 equal? So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to substitute. So just like if I'm absent, if I, the teacher, am not here, I have to hire a substitute teacher, right? They come in and they fill in for me, so they replace me. It's the same thing here. I want to substitute or replace this value of x with what number? A 4. We want to replace that x with the number 4. Nothing else is getting replaced. It's still going to be a 2 on the outside. I'm still going to have parentheses, but now instead of x plus 3, it's going to say 4 plus 3. It's now going to be 4 plus 3. And then I just evaluate it in order of my operations. What do I have to do first? Joshua? The parentheses. I have to add inside these parentheses. That's what I need to do first. So I'm going to go ahead and combine these values together. And just like he says, parentheses. The parentheses has to get completed first. So we're going to add the 4 plus the 3. The 4 plus the 3 is going to give us a negative, or sorry, not negative 1. Sorry, 7. Whew. I was looking at the wrong problem that I had on here. The 4 plus the 3 is going to give me a 7. So now I have 2 on the outside. I've got 2 and then parentheses 7. What do those parentheses indicate that I'm doing with the 2, Noah?
Multiplying.
multiplying. Remember, when in doubt, check that invisibility math board. On the back board, it says 4 different ways to show multiplication. One of those ways is to have a number and then parentheses around a separate number. If there's no other operation that you see, then that means it's multiplication. So that means we're going to go ahead and multiply. So we're going to multiply these together, and that's going to give us 14. So our final answer here is going to be 14. Another neat thing though, if you forgot how to do your order of operations, then you can just use your calculator to do it for you. If you type it exactly as you see it into your calculator, so the problem that I'm seeing, I see 2, I see a parentheses, so there's my parentheses buttons right here, and then 4 plus 3, and I close those parentheses and hit enter, it tells me 14. If you type the problem exactly as you see it on your paper, it will do order of operations for you. Okay, so always check to make sure you've done it correctly. Let's try another one. (8w) minus 2x. W is going to be equal to 5. X is going to be equal to 3. 8w minus 2x. W is equal to 5. X is equal to 3. The first thing that we need to do is substitute. So instead of W, what am I going to put? A 5. Instead of X, what am I going to put? A 3. Now, does this mean that this is now 85? No. This is, what operation is this again? This is multiplication. 8 times W means you're multiplying, right? So that means I'm still going to be multiplying. 8 times 5 minus 2 times 3. This is multiplication now. We're going to do our multiplication next. We're going to multiply. What's 8 times 5, guys? 40. What's 2 times 3? 6. We still have our subtraction here. So our last step is to go ahead and subtract. What's 40 minus 6? 34. And there's our answer. Again, if you type it in your calculator and you type 8 times 5 minus 2 times 3, 8 times 5 minus 2 times 3 and hit enter, it's going to give you 34. Going to give you like 10 seconds and then I'm going to switch the paper to the next page. Alright, going to the next page. Come on, hurry up. When in doubt, too, guys, this is always going to be posted on Google Classroom. Okay, let's go. All right, page 24. Page 24. Yes, dear. Huh? 25. But I was just on page 23. I have page 22 for that. So I'm on page 25, or I mean 24. Page 24. Try this one on your own. With 3 times the quantity of C minus D, C is going to be equal to -5. D is going to be equal to 8. Do this one on your own. All right, who can tell me what they got? Allison? -39 is correct. Okay, you're going to substitute. We're going to replace the C with a -5. We're going to replace D with a +8. Okay, so now I have the problem 3 times the quantity of -5 minus 8. I need to do parentheses. So -5 minus the 8 is going to come out to being -13. So now we've got the problem 3 times -13. We'll multiply, and that comes out to -39. Okay, so again, we substituted. We did the parentheses. And then we multiplied here. Okay, go ahead and pack up.